Hey guys, it's Eric here at Farpoint Farms. Check it out, man. Retevis has a new walkie-talkie. This one I thought was pretty darn cool because it also does 10 meter. It's the A3 and it does 2 meter, 70 centimeters, 6 meter, and 10 meters. So it is like the most versatile, I think, walkie-talkie I've played with, especially from these folks here at Retevis. Here's what it looks like here. There's a variety of antennas, obviously, because there is a variety of bands. And we'll just go ahead and get everything out of the box here. We'll take a look at it. Antenna after antenna. There's a power supply here. It does come with a nice charging port. It does come with a nice belt clip, which I'm going to install right now. If I can get that in there. There we go. And that's it. Okay. So, yeah, you know, Retevis makes a ton of radios at this point. This one here really hit me because I was like, ooh, wow, that does a lot more than I'm used to seeing these days. All right, so we do get a wall wart here and USB charging cable, which is, right, goes into there, so that sits there. It does have, this is kind of cool. I'm not sure. Oh, I see. Interesting. All right, so this goes through here. And I have such a hard time with these. I got my better glasses on today. We'll see here if we can get it in there. Sometimes they'll play along with me. And a lot of times they won't. I'm not going to mess with it. But it's a releasable. So you got a strap here. Right? Or you can get rid of that if you want to. Nice. I like the neon green. If I drop it, it's easily identifiable that it's in the woods. So, you know, camo stuff. Gosh, man, I lost a BB gun, man, a handgun when I was younger. I was running through the woods with that thing in a homemade holster, and it fell into the dirt or into the woods. And I mean, leaves are what? They're brown or darkish. You know, dirt's dark. Well, you think about a wooden handle and a dark colored barrel, and I couldn't find that thing. We looked for like an hour. Such a bummer. All right, what else does this thing come with? Talk about getting off topic. I'm just in a mood, I guess. One antenna right here. All right, this must be the, let's see here. Frequency range on this one, 27 megahertz. So this is our 10 slash, I wonder if this thing can be modified. I'm definitely going to be checking because this could also be a CB radio, it looks like. So obviously if you know anything about radio in general, you'll know that 2 meter requires a pretty small antenna. And 70 centimeter also requires a pretty small antenna, but 10 meter, 11 meter, you know, those things require quite a bit of antenna. And this one's got one. I would say that's a 5-footer. Looks like it's base loaded. And it's a pretty good size antenna as far as the thickness on that. So, all right, so those two sit over there. We also have a programming cable here. Let's go ahead and pop that out of here and we'll take a look at the user's manual on this thing. So USB, and it is the older style. You know, some of the newer radios are coming with the, it's like just dots, like pads when you take that loose here. But this one still uses the old one, so that means you can hook up an external lapel mic and or like ear mic combo, you know, the thing. So you can do that as well. I'm not sure about this thing. Let's see. It's a phono jack, so either there is another connection here that I'm missing. Oh, there sure is. So we have another antenna that can go right there, like so. And of course, I'll get the camera closer in so you can see all this stuff up close, but this is pretty darn cool looking out of the gate. All right, let's take a look at the manual here and we'll see what we can find here. Obviously, a sophisticated radio. And it has, looks like 18 pages in English. Okay, antenna 1, that would be this one, covers 50 megahertz, 144 megahertz, and 430 megahertz. Antenna 2, which is this one, 0.153 to 18 megahertz. And then this one is our 10 and 11 megahertz band. All right, then it gets into buttons and whatnot. It doesn't say what power. I wonder what power output this thing has. It does have low and high for power, so I'm just wondering if it goes through that, but I'm sure it will at some point here. Lots of, you know, buttons and multiple button presses to take this thing from one level to another. Yeah, this is definitely not amateur hour when it comes to getting this thing set up the first time, but we'll play with some of it. I'm not going to get into every single bit of it. It's more just to let you know this thing exists, because I can't think of another radio that covers all those bands. And if someone else is out there knows of one that, you know, hasn't come out in the last 12 months, let me know, because I can't recall a 2 meter and 10 meter and you know, radio coming out at all, as far as handheld anyway. Yeah, so it's a lot of, oh my gosh, there's a lot to learn as far as programming. I'm gonna get the camera closer and let's take a look at some of those features and functions. We're not gonna go crazy on it because, again, we could spend probably 2 days trying to get into every single one of these, but let's cover the highlights. Let's do it. All right, well, here it all is. I'm gonna move that aside, but like I said, we got the programming cable here, our 10/11 meter antenna. Very small antenna here, which was covering the very low bands, 0.153 to 18 megahertz. I guess that's not that low. And then we have our 2 meter and 440 here. The radio itself, you know, we got this nice charging pad here. I like that. Let's see if it has a part number on there. The DC79 charging and completed lights. So it does, oh my gosh, almost dropped it. Does light up when you have that. And then our detachable, this is cool. Press that button, it's detachable. So you're not carrying around the bigger strap. Here's the main unit here. It does appear to have some level of waterproofness, although I don't know how much. Hidden behind here is our earphone and speaker jacks. On this side, A and B, up and down, I would imagine, as well. And then function 1 and function 2. We can remove the battery with a push here. You can slide that out. Nice heavy duty, and I like this. Check out, the clip has a hook on the back too, so if you put that around your belt, that ain't coming off no matter how much you're running. Antenna port, looks like we have an LED light or flashlight function. Underneath this rubber-proof thing is where we plug in our third antenna there, and then we do have a on and transmit light, and lastly we have our on-off volume, and there we go. Here it comes up.
Channel mode 1.
All right, so nice quiet voice here with a backlit display. I'm sure we can change all that around. We can switch between A and B. Which one are we gonna?
Frequency mode. Channel mode
Right.
1.
And then we can switch bands.
Frequency.
And you can see us move up through these. Just to give you an idea of what we're going for here. Isn't this incredible? So 6 meter, you know, magic bands. And then we get into, let's just see where this goes. Wow, incredible. All right, let's see what menu. So up and down frequency here. Push to talk. Oh, I better hook an antenna up if I'm going to push to talk here. That's a good way to fry a radio right out of the gate there. All right, so we have that going on. Let's get into menu. We have general, channel setup, squelch step, dual vox, VFO scan, mode and frequency. I mean, I'm just going to roll through these. Frequency scan, timeout mode, DTMF, any-up code, tone controls, NOAA, so it does have weather band, host info, and we can also do that. General, let's get into that. So, all right, pretty cool here. If you see the keypad squelch, there's a bunch, like this is a 3 function. So you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all that is in there with these numbers, but then we also have dial, call, mod, spec, SIR, WX, high-low, FM mode, select, scan, FC, BAL, and squelch. Lots going on there. And we have our, to turn it to monitor mode. And we can change from, let's see here, if I press and hold, I believe.
Box.
Right, box on.
Box. Hour. Hour. Hour.
So there's power, you can see low, medium, and high.
Hour. 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 Channel mode 1.
I will say, without reading the manual on this thing is way too complicated to try to figure out without it. Let me just go through some of these with you here. This is going to take about 4 years to figure out how to use all this stuff from the looks of it. But we have push to talk, channel A transmit, push to talk 2, channel B transmit. These are the two here and here. I'm sorry, here and here. There you go. Switch between high and low. Monitor, so we can turn the squelch all the way off and just listen to the static. FM mode, scan, obviously, Vox. Continuous transmit, never heard that. There's a flashlight button as well. And then key operation 2. You can go through those. I won't read them all off to you, but signal strength, as far as the letter numbers, right? We have transmit power output, CTSC, voice prompt, narrowband, Vox, plus and minus, DTMF 5-tone signal coding, dual receive, keypad lock, display the current battery status, main channel indicator, voice encryption, okay? Talk around mode, noise reduction, change of voice, NOAA automatic scan, power savings, scan, receiving, and transmitting. Holy moly. And then the menu goes on for about 14 pages as well. And we got, you can see backlight control, key beep, voice prompt. I mean, it goes, my friends, it goes. I would have this thing figured out sometime. I'm filming this the last day of August. I imagine this thing will be figured out by sometime in March. That would be my best guess. The problem is if you don't use it every day with this much going on, it's highly likely that I'll forget it by April 1st. So that'll be that. I mean, look at all the stuff going on here. Best guess to do with this, honestly, if you're going to program something like this, on a radio like this, for me, what I'm going to end up doing with something like this is that I'm going to hook this up. I am going to plug it into a computer. I'm going to do my programming through the computer. I'm going to set up about 30 channels that I normally use, and then I'm never going to touch anything but channel up and down. I'm going to set it and forget it. That's what I'd recommend you do. That being said, holy moly, I mean, look at this stuff. This goes on forever. And these are just, I mean, I don't know what else to say. There's just so much here. I'll leave these pages up on this. A very sophisticated radio. And if you get totally screwed up, well, you can just restore it to factory. You know, aviation band again. So do I like it? Yeah. Am I going to be able to use this thing out of the box? Oh, no, not at all. Not a chance. Look, I know a lot of you guys out there, especially some of you old-time Elmers, you guys are going to understand how this thing operates right out of the box, and this really is a product probably for the more advanced user. My interest in it was the fact that it was a Walkie that does a lot of different frequencies, and so it's something that I do want to learn how to use, but it's definitely going to take me some time to do that. I guess I'll leave it at that. It's a cool setup. I'll leave a link to where you can pick one of these things up, and I'll see you next time. Take care.